fodder for the president's Republican critics, blah, 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 blah. So there it is. You know who's on Martha's Vineyard? All of the Gonoffs in the green mailing business, the takeover business. All of the worst of the vulture capitalists are on Martha's Vineyard. I can name them, by the way, about 5 of them. That's why he's there. The reason he is there is because the people who put him in office are there. What a better place to find out what the controllers want next. I mean, they're not fat enough on what he gave them with TARP money and this takeover and that takeover. Now he has to find out what they want next. Those are pull the strings. Why, you surprised? It's the way business is done. And as long as you keep believing the double talk about how he's for the people, that's all. 1-800-449-8255. Before we broke off, we were speaking with a man from WOR land in New York, George. Welcome back to the show. George, so you grew up a white guy in Hell's Kitchen, you said, or near Chinatown?
Chinatown, in Chinatown.
Are you Italian?
No, sir.
No, because that's right where Little Italy meets Chinatown on what, Canal Street?
Yeah, I was over a little more west by Henry and Pike.
All right, so how did your family wind up living in what's called Chinatown?
Well, my parents, I'm first generation American. My parents immigrated from Germany just after the war, and they had to take anything.
You mean World War which, 1 or 2?
2.
So you're born in 46, 47?
47.
Oh, so you're a kid born there. They took whatever they could get, right?
Exactly.
So how did you fit in being born then with Chinese kids? Did they accept you?
Absolutely. My best friend was a Chinese. Well, one of my best friends was a Chinese family who lived on the same floor in the walk-up 6-4 walk-up tenement.
Right. What I'm getting at by your story is that by the liberal stories today, you should have hated each other. That till they came along with the Great Society, every race hated each other till the white liberal showed up, when the exact opposite is true. The races got along better until the white liberal came along and turned races against each other.
That's right. We had a mixed neighborhood. We had Italians, we had Jews, Germans, Chinese, you name it, they were there. And everybody got along. Everybody's mother watched everybody else's kid. There was a
Isn't that amazing? Well, there's a piece of American history, George, that needs to be written about to a great extent, because the liars who tell you that America was a land of hatred till they came along, the communist white man, till the communist white man came along, that we were living in hell in America.
No. I won't agree with that. And the only other reason, I've been listening to you for over 10 years, and right now talking to you is almost as good as sex. Okay?
Oh, well, please, this is a family show, George. I didn't know you were going to go there.
Well, anyway, you love dogs. I've had dogs since I was 7 years old. And
I do. Have you read my book, Psychological Nudity?
No, I've been trying to get it, but right now
I'm going to send you a free copy, particularly the story Tippy dies and thrown in a garbage truck. When your dog died when you were a kid, did they throw him in a garbage truck like Tippy?
No, sir. We had a funeral attendance of 15 people, and the vet threw everybody out of the office.
You know, it's amazing. So I came from a very unusual background, sir, to say it in a. So no, I thought everyone threw their dog in a garbage truck when it died. I must have had a weird family.
No, not at all.
Harsh. Whoa, I had a harsh upbringing. I had no idea. Between the cyanide and throwing a dog in a garbage truck when it died, I thought everyone did that.
Mr. Savage, could I please just tell you this? She was a 140-pound Rottweiler.
Oh, boy.
And
wow.
She was the most gentle creature. And she.
Well, I love with the women and the feminists in San Francisco. They walk around with Rottweilers like that. They come up to men and they sniff your crotch and you're scared to death they're going to tear them off. And they say, "Don't worry, she's gentle." And then, in between your legs. Yeah, we're all gentle. No, I don't go for that. I'm sorry. Thanks for the call. Keep him on the line for the book. I don't believe there's such a thing as a gentle Rottweiler. To strangers? Are you kidding me? My dog is gentle, but even he's capable of being a dog. You try to take away a toy from Teddy, even he goes atavistic on you. And a pair of back teeth on him, and you understand how they survived all those years. They got a pair of sharp teeth in the back. They could rip your hand off. Well, you think about it. You say, is a small dog potentially dangerous, 10 pounds? By himself, no. But 10 of them coming at you? Yeah, a mosquito. Think of what a mosquito could do with you carrying a bacteria. Okay? So you say, why? Anything can harm you. It gets you in the right spot. But the Chinese were smart in the bedrooms, the emperor's bedrooms, where they had 10, 20 Lhasa Apsus trained to kill. Because one big dog, the enemy, the assassin could kill like a person. They could cut its throat. But 20 Lhasa Apsus barking and screaming and yapping and coming at you in every direction, that's almost impossible even for a ninja to, and by that time already, the guards are there, you see. That's how that worked. So if you're thinking of watchdogs, I would suggest lots of small ones rather than one chestnut man, so to speak. What would you like to talk about? The show is fun today. I don't know if anyone's listening. Let's see what's in the New York Times today. How boring can you get? Senate panel endorses Sotomayor in 13-6 vote. No, they're going to put in a conservative. FBI watched terror suspects for 3 years. The FBI watched Daniel Patrick Boyd for 3 years as he stockpiled weapons, planned attacks, and trained accomplices before agents arrested the group. Only 3 years, not 30 years? I'd be surprised it wasn't 30 years with today's rules. The only people they could take down immediately would be talk show hosts and the returning military veterans. They're on the watch list. They're immediately on the watch list. Anyone who actually served in combat is at the top of the list for Homeland Security. Reports of a Senate panel. There's nothing in the paper anymore. Police search home of Jackson's doctor. They won't let that go? They won't let it go. I don't care about the junkie. I don't care about him. What's this one? Tucker. Again, they're terrible newspaper today, and I grew up on it. Tuna fish, Times, and tea. Constantly read it as I took the subway into Manhattan with the stained raincoat with the tuna fish sandwich to save money. You know what I mean? That's what I did. Oh, did I hate those days. I swore I'd get out of there. I swore as a strap hanger. I remember I'd come home at night, and the raincoat smelled of the subway. I once wrote a bad poem where I come home at night, and my raincoat smells of the subway. Today already, if I was, let's say, a minority of a certain minority type and a transsexual with one breast, and I wrote a thing like that, when I come home at night, my raincoat smells of the subway, I'd be invited to the White House to give a celebration. Think about it. I mean, that's a pretty good line, but it's not poetry. It's just a loser on the subway who can't stand the smell of his raincoat when he comes home at night. But today, that's already Harvard material. Let's say I'm a student of Henry Louis Gates, Jr., and I write a poem. When I come home at night, my raincoat smells of the subway. Bingo. Immediately, Nobel Prize. Immediately, the head of the department. Immediately, tenure track. 1-800-449-8255. MichaelSavage.com. New York City, Joe, WOR. Go ahead. What's on your mind, Joe?
Hi, Michael. I just love listening to you. You're very entertaining. Even if you talk about anything, you're very entertaining. We love listening to you. And
what's the screaming in the background there? What, do you got a lot of kids? Or?
Yes, I do.
How many?
6.
Your own?
Yeah.
You had 6 on your own? You're a hero in this country.
Well, I'm an Orthodox Jew, so we believe in...
Well, good for you. God bless you. God bless you. Someone's having children.
Yeah.
Someone understands sex can be for reproduction as well as pleasure. The whole world's upside down. When I grew up, it was the other way around, where it was only reproduction. You weren't allowed to have pleasure. Now it's so topsy-turvy that if anyone has a child with sex, they think they're crazy.
And one thing, Michael, I'm devastated that all the radio, the right-wing radio talk shows, they're not covering you. It's unbelievable.
No, of course. No. Well, there's a degree of jealousy, number one, and they don't want to give me any coverage, for their own career-wise. But that's not the real reason. The real reason is that they use the right-wing stuff to sell the show. But if they were truly conservative, wouldn't you think they'd want to cover this story?
Absolutely.
Thank you for the call. Send the man a copy of Psychological Nudity. Even a religious man will find that book interesting and beautiful. There's not a dirty word in it. Isn't that interesting that I could write a book without a dirty word in it? Fat Al's Tuna. I was 17 and working as a busboy at Shanks Paramount Hotel up in the mountains of New York. I worked there every summer to pay for college. The hours were gruesome. It's true. What's wrong with that? We'd work from 5 in the morning until midnight. This is Fat Al's Tuna. Remember that story? Where he sticks his arm Remember Fat Al? It's an interesting story. I don't want to read it again. I remember in the kitchen, there was a guy we called Fat Al. He was the breakfast and lunch cook. A fat Italian guy, maybe 400 pounds of blubber. Underneath the blubber was solid iron. He had a neck on him like a tree stump. Good writing. I would enjoy reading this. Like, it's a little Damon Runyon-esque when you think about it, who I enjoyed as a boy, by the way. I read novels like that. He'd wear a bandana around his neck and on top of his head. Remember that before today? It's popular, the bandana, but he had it that day because he sweat a lot. And he'd sit with a cigarette hanging out the side of his mouth as he cooked. I don't know how old he was. He could have been 38 to me, looked 90. One day, old Fat Al called me over and said, "Hey, kid, come over here. I'll show you how to make the tuna." As I watched, the cigarette dangled from his mouth over the bowl. I'll never forget how Fat Al didn't use a Cuisinart to mix things up, you know, with the stainless steel blades that all the fancy chefs use today. No, Fat Al mixed stuff with his big hand. He'd be up to his armpit in the tureen.